Hey guys, and welcome back for our first guide with the Go Muffin. I've been enjoying this game every single day and I just want to share some tips regarding the roles of our classes. Actually, it's not just a tip rather than message to all players in this game. I just want to make this video in regards to the chaos that is going on with doing rifts or the perilous trials. It is clear that each of these classes needs to have manual controlling of the tactical skills. Tactical skills are these 3 skills above the core skill, which you can toggle between auto or manual. But for some instances, you will need to strategize and equip some certain skill to do it manually. Isn't it obvious that it is called tactical for a reason? Doesn't mean it's an idle game, then you will also idle when doing rifts. That doesn't make the game fun. For starters, the classes of Go Muffin have a different roles. We have the tank, DPS, and then the support. Sword bearers are the only class that have the tanking capability. Acolytes on the other hand has the healing skill that sustains the party, which makes them the support. And all of these classes can be a DPS since they all have the offensive skills. But there are classes that really specializes in this role, and those are the Shadow Lash, Scholar, and Wayfarer. I will discuss the roles of each classes and their tactical skills that they need to equip to make the dungeon run much easier, and prevent these DPS classes from blaming tanks or healers with each run or vice versa. So let's start with the tank role. Sword bearers have the specific skills to increase their defensive stats, and they can withstand the boss's strong attack damage which other classes cannot. To tank doesn't mean you just sit and leave your character on idle and take all the damage. There's a certain tactical skill that you will be needing to do manually, and that is the Warcry skill. Warcry deals physical damage to surrounding enemies and taunts them for 8 seconds. Taunt forces surrounding enemies to attack you and reduces their damage dealt by 15%. This skill is very situational since there are bosses that changes their attack just like the Emir. What the tank will do is to transfer to the other side and then use the Warcry to taunt the boss. Because this boss has a certain skill that can one-shot your party members when fully charged. You should taunt it so it will just directly attack you because you're the only one who could absorb that attack. You should also use the taunt skill when doing waves of horror. There are a lot of monsters that are going to swarm on your party members, so you should taunt them and take the damage instead to protect your healers and DPS. Do take note that when using Warcry as a tank, do not equip the Berserker passive skill, as this will convert the taunt into an interrupting skill which is mainly used for DPS type classes. So you better check your passive skill first. Now let's discuss the support or the healer. Acolyte is the only class that has the skill that can heal your entire party. They are also very essential to the team just like the tanks. On raid contents, they can either be healer or a DPS. But one thing is for sure, you can easily find parties when you change your role as a healer. Because in this game, there are so many DPS users, so better do not push yourself on a DPS role if you are an Acolyte. Acolytes don't just heal party members, they can also remove a debuff from your entire party with a cleanse. This is a very important note because cleansing is going to be a part of your manual control of tactical skills. There are certain bosses that provides debuffs from your team, and if you don't cleanse it, you might be struggling to sustain your party. Upon casting Purification, immediately removes 3 debuffs from all enemies and restores HP. So it just doesn't cleanse it. It also heals your party members, which makes it a very good support skill. So you should always equip this skill for any scenario. Let's take Emir for example. Here you can see the boss's attack with a wide AoE frost skill. You can see this snowflake icon above on each characters after the boss attacks. Those are debuffs which makes your character freeze for a moment when it reaches to a full stack. So you should immediately cleanse it before it freezes you, making you unable to heal your teammates, which results to a defeat. There are also situational skills such as Radiant Barrier, which helps you mitigate burst damage attack. And my personal favorite is the Divine Healing, a skill that instantly heals all allies and continues to restore the same amount of heal for every 0.5 seconds. This skill is very useful when countering the lava pool ability of the Deep Rock Eel boss, which will melt your party if you can sustain it. However, it has a very long cooldown, making it suitable only for specific situation, so use it wisely. And lastly, we go to the DPS role. This role is somewhat controversial as it's popular choice among players. Many DPS users tend to just rely heavily on auto in every situation and forget that they have manual skills for specific situation. In my experience, I always find these DPS users to always blame the tanks and healers every time when a dungeon run fails. To be fair, there are also these kind of tanks and healers that are just doing auto stuff, but mostly are these DPS. That is why they are active in chats ranting about others' mistakes. I'm a DPS main myself. I main Sorcerer class and have an Alt Oracle for support, so I always adjust my playstyle for every content. Now my advice is, if you are a DPS, you should be focusing on the boss's weakness. There are certain bosses that have these kind of weak spots, just like the Deep Rock Eel. Deep Rock Eel's Devour skill will charge up and leave them open for interrupting. If the DPS didn't focus on the weak spot and didn't interrupt the casting, the result is your tank in the party may die in just one hit. And what happens when your tank is gone? So to prevent this, you need to focus breaking the casting, so the boss will take additional damage and prevents them from one-shotting your tank. DPS also has these interruption skills. Just like tank has taunt, healer has the cleanse, DPS also has interrupt. They should be the one equipping that kind of tactical skills, since tank cannot do taunt and interrupting at the same time, and acolytes do not have interrupting skills, so DPS will be the best fit for this role. If you are a DPS, look for your tactical skill that has interrupt on the description. For example, on my Sorcerer, we have the Transformation Magic that deals physical damage and interrupts spell casting. If you successfully interrupt the spell casting of the boss, your damage will increase by 30% for 18 seconds, which is not bad. Well, take this Emir for example. You should wait for the boss to cast a spell. Muffin will indicate a warning where you will be needing to interrupt this spell. After that, use your interrupting skill. You break the boss spell casting and you gain plus 30% damage for 18 seconds. However, you should do it manually since it has cooldown, and you need to perfectly time it. For summary, tank role uses taunt skill, healer uses cleanse, and DPS uses interruption skill. So I hope by now you will have a better understanding of your role in playing this game. It's only a casual idle game, but it has a very good teamwork feature, which gives you a bit of challenge and somewhat fun experience. I just want to add this up. If you are a newbie looking to start playing the game, I recommend you joining the C Server 1. It's still the most populated server, making it much easier to find teams through matchmaking. In contrast, other servers seems to be struggling, with players losing hope in queuing for matches, as I read on the community. Don't feel discouraged if you think you're falling behind. Since the game is entirely PvE, there's no need to worry about being bullied in PvP. High-level players are usually happy to help with dungeon runs. Just ask in the word chat and you'll find support. Most importantly, play at your own pace and enjoy the raids. If you find this video helpful, then please leave a like. Also subscribe to support my channel. As always, thanks for watching, stay safe and have an awesome day. Lights out!